Whereas some B2B, B2C companies are more, the speed to the lead is so important that they are transferring leads among each other. So, I mean, you got a lot you're juggling, but I love how it just keeps coming to place. But
yeah,
I mean,
and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just where we came from was the lead gen space. And the lead gen space that we came into to begin with is definitely very B2C focused. But over time, we've continued, as you can see, add a lot more features, and that's just one of them that I know is important. And in certain B2C operations, it's important as well. So I think it's a fantastic feature. I can't wait to deliver it. I just hope we get there as soon as possible for the people who need it.
So it's in the time frame of even this year. I mean, that's reasonable.
I mean, every single day, what the message that is constantly reinforced to me is that we actually probably get way more, we get way better by focusing more on enhancing the product that we have, not necessarily adding on huge new features.
Right.
And so we are most definitely in the mode of enhancement right now. And we will stay there, I think, for some time. We have a massive calendar update coming out in July that's going to allow us to do things like share multiple salespeople or people across one calendar and do round robining within the calendar itself, which I think will be gargantuan. We have warm transfer capabilities coming to the outbound dialer, which I think are going to be amazing. We have a new drag and drop email builder in the works that I think will be amazing. So workflow builder that's coming out. None of these things are new features, but they're just huge upgrades on the existing ones. And I think that from a customer base perspective, that's the right attitude right now that we need to be in. So it's definitely our focus.
Interesting. So the follow-up I would ask, which is related to what we're talking about, and it sounds like I think you might have just addressed it, is so I have a product now and a two-way texting product. Mm-hmm. And it's when you click on the modal, the pop-up, the box where you're entering your question, again, right from that point, I can just establish a distribution route. I can say it's what department is this message for. I can generate from a keyword. I can generate a message that goes specifically to Sean, to you via keyword, or go specifically to Chase, like if he's my rep and I'm dealing with him all the time. Is that functionality part of what we're talking about here, or how does that fit into the B2B model?
Yeah. So the answer to that is we do what we're told by our customers, and we do so in the order that we're asked to do them, because that's really the only way we can play. If I went with he who or she who shouts the loudest, we would have done lots of other things, I suspect. But I just don't like that methodology. And so that's where the ideas list comes from. It's an imperfect system, by the way. There's lots of problems with it. Sure. I mean, stuff that I know off the bat for enhancements is one of the big things we're going to do is move all of the bulk actions into the smart lists, which you've seen now take away the contact list, so that you can do things like, okay, I want to select these people that match these filters. And so I'm just sort of thinking in context of what you're saying. So like you could say, well, I'm going to put these people in a particular grouping. I'm going to filter them down, and then I just want to select everybody in this group, and I send a one-time text blast. And I either want to send it right now, or maybe I want to send it tomorrow morning, but we'll sort of compartmentalize a lot of that bulk sending within the smart lists. So I think some of that will work. The whole based on a keyword, do this thing, that's pretty deep. I don't think most people want that functionality, or not that they wouldn't take it, but I don't know that that's high on the list from a priority order.
Okay, yeah, and again, first of all, let me I'm 2 weeks roughly into Go HighLevel, so my head's exploding.
Welcome.
Yeah, my head's exploding. I mean, it's crazy. Also, I come from 25, 30 years in the software business, so I totally understand the challenge you have of enhancements and fixing things and changing things. I totally get it. I think one of the things that attracted me to come on board is because I just love where you're going, and I love the community and the fact that there's that support available. I happen to be a weird duck, and that I have a little bit of a unique use case. And, I know that may not be normal or what a lot of your customers are currently looking for. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do I fit HighLevel in, or do I? Maybe I do for certain things and not for other things. I mean, I just have to figure out how.
That's a good question. I also think that tends to be how I like to conversate around these things, anyways. Which is, people will generally start conversations with me about like, do you have this feature, or does something work this specific way? But I like to change the conversation and say, well, wait a second, what are you trying to achieve? Because oftentimes I can find a way to make the system do exactly what they want to do. That doesn't always happen, of course, but it's certainly plausible. So it'd be great to sort of maybe get a side conversation going with you in terms of what your use case is.
Sure.
Just so we can understand better.
Absolutely. And not to take, and last thing before, yeah, who is that? Sorry.
This is Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
You know, another thing sometimes that I've found, because I've had paradigms that we've worked a certain way, some of the times, and Sean's helped and other people have helped, we've done workarounds, and other times it's changing my paradigm, and I've found better breakthroughs by just looking at it a different way from the standard procedure. Now, I have to deal with personalities and egos of change.
Don't we all?
Everybody loves progress. Nobody likes change.
Right.
So they love the idea with progress, but it doesn't happen without change. Right. And so sometimes I would just encourage to sometimes listen to how some other people are doing it, because I've done that and modified some thoughts, and it's working. And so sometimes just keep that as a potential.
I'm completely open-minded. I'm just know that I'm in a very, very specific niche that is not really designed. You know, no. I totally get it. And that's where I have a meeting today at 4:00 scheduled with, I thought it was Chase, but it's Chase's counterpart. And, you know, I just wanted to kind of talk to someone about where I want to go with the product, and am I going down the right road? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you're talking to Memi, and I think she's fantastic, and that's a great way to go. She'll actually, I think, be able to help you a great deal with that.
That's great. I don't want to take up everybody's time. It's good to be on the call, and tonight, nice to meet everybody. And you'll be seeing more of me, I'm sure. So.
Thanks.
You'll be sick of me in a couple of days, I'm sure.
You're sick of me, Glenn.
I had a conversation with Glenn earlier this morning. I'm already sick of him.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Graham. Nice to see you.
Well, welcome to the community, Glenn.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Looks like next up we have James. James, you want to hop off mute and tell us what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I just went into what I was going to show you, and I saw a new update. I don't want to blow it in case you have a new video.
Oh, no. What is it? What is it? Maybe I don't know.
Okay, the global templates.
Like you stole my thunder. No, that is. I do have to drop a video on that today. It's going to be huge.
You told me to tell it, so I did. I'm so pumped about it, though.
Good. It's the global sections are live, and you can map components in the funnel, which I have no idea what that means. So I gotta ask my co-founder what that means. But I'll get a video out shortly.
Love it. So I had it. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's just an interface issue. So I did.
I love you guys, by the way. I love my e-coders.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah. I love what you guys do.
Yeah. So I finally understood that whenever you create a campaign, if you add a new email sequence,
it doesn't automatically
it doesn't be the previous people who
I have
before that.
Trust me, this is on our short list. So.
Oh, okay.
It'll be our short list is a little longer than it used to be. It'll probably score like 30 days out, but it's still on the list.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll leave that be. It was just like a bug because it said, you know, that it did send the emails, but when you go to it, it didn't send it. So, you know, that was just the confusion that I had.
Oh, no worries at all. I'm just gonna poke my co-founder and tell him that we had somebody else ask for the same feature.
Cool. And then the next question I had was, whenever I save a section, even with regular colors, the colors didn't get saved.
Is this the new thing I haven't announced yet?
No, it's not.
Okay. Whew.
No, this is, let me leave. I hit save. Okay, well, I'm here. Is there a way to make everything full width? I made all the padding 0, but I can't seem to get everything full width. Is that a bug or is that just not built in like that?
I'm sure hoping Chase is going to jump.
I think it wasn't possible until recently, but I think there's a new setting in there that says allow element to take the full width of something. So
Okay.
I'm not sure at which level it's at. Maybe it's at the blue. There you go.
Ah, you're the man. Awesome.
And I don't know when that feature got added, but I just noticed it the other day and was thinking the same thing. Like, oh, sweet.
Love it.
So
Saved by Anish, wherever you are, Anish. Thank you.
I have a
So
question.
just the Facebook pixel, I don't know if you guys seen the new, they're blocking. We know that cookies are being blocked a lot by browsers, and Facebook has the new server event triggering. I was just curious if that was on the list.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So no, what is that?
Yeah, so long story short, you know, people have ad blockers, they have cookie blockers. So whenever you're running ads
Yeah.
for Facebook, they hit your page, you can't actually track it.
Yeah.
But Facebook just came out with a feature a couple months ago where it's server-side processing, and you can actually run it via PHP or whatever, you know, server script, and it'll actually hit Facebook before the page actually loads, so you can get the full tracking without
How does
cookies.
that work?
It's just like I think it's an API hit or something. I'm not sure, to be honest. But a lot of other builders are including that just to get around the whole cookies issue.
Is there any way you could send me documentation from some other builder that you know does that? Because then
Sure.
I can get that development and we can get it on the list.
Yeah. Do I email you or just DM you or something?
Yeah, whatever you got.
Okay. Cool.
James, is that on the developer side of Facebook? I'm curious just from an ads
It is.
perspective.
Yeah, it
Okay.
would be a developer thing.
Got it. Thank
Yeah, it
you.
has to run before the HTML is the problem.
Okay.
Okay, and then I was just curious, I didn't see a trigger for task creation. Is that something that's on the list? Like if somebody creates a task, I just want to be able to webhook it into my task management software.
Yes, it is on the list.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're oh, so funny. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely on. I have almost a full-time trigger developer now, so don't worry. That one should be out soon.
Love
Also, we also have to add email balances to the email list, which I noticed was missing the other day.
Last question, and I'll shut up. I had one of my clients, they were asking about using one phone number with Twilio, but they had like 3 different departments.
Yep.
Is that okay to have, you know, that same number for inbound and outbound, or does it not allow simultaneous like that?
Yeah, you can do that for sure. And the way we know how to route the calls is if a call comes into the system, if the lead is assigned to someone, we'll automatically route that call to that person. And if the lead is not assigned to someone, or you know the person calling inbound is not assigned to someone already, then we'll just route it to the general forwarding number.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah,
So
our
just one
system
number
is
is
smart.
fine.
It's smart like that. We actually, you'll note that you can assign Twilio numbers to team members. That was purely added as a feature because people couldn't, I couldn't somehow express to people how the fact that it just worked because it knows who you are when you call.
Gotcha.
So,
That's
Sean,
awesome.
should be fine. Yes, ma'am.
for Twilio, I live in Panama and I have just team in a few different countries. Is it possible for like my appointment setters, for example, is it possible to set up the Twilio number to forward to their specific country code plus number, or do I need Google Voice or Vonage or something for that?
No, you can forward to their number.
Really?
Most Twilio accounts are geo-locked by default. So if you sign up in the US, Twilio will set the geo permission such that you cannot call outside the US because it just assumes it's a security thing. They just don't want to rack up a bunch of charges for you. If you go look in the help documentation, search geo permissions, there's an article on exactly how to fix that. It's super easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I have a quick question. When is authorized.net going to come out?
Sometime later this year.
Okay.
It's not currently on the, it's probably on the ideas list. Let me take a look. I definitely want to support other payment gateways, and we'll probably authorize.net will be one of the last ones we do because they sort of cover the watershed. But yeah, in fact, what's ironic is, by the way, that's not even on the ideas list. It'd be great if someone could add that. Ideas.go highlevel.com. But yeah, I mean, it's I struggle with this because I think authorized.net is probably the right answer. Then maybe PayPal, because too many people tell me they get a better rate from this, that, or the other person. And then at least with authorized, we should be able to handle them all. I assume that's your situation.
Yeah, I just need authorized.
Is that because you get is that because your rate is better with authorized, or what's the situation there?
So I'm a merchant partner with authorized.
Uh-huh.
So when I onboard a client, part of my package is they have to sign up with merchant under me.
For you to get your affiliate, your commission.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of sticking with a different platform right now, because they integrate with authorized for
Yep.
funnels and websites.
It's definitely on my hit list. I promise.
Yeah. Okay.
But it'd be great if you wouldn't mind adding it to the ideas list, just so we can get votes for it. Because
do I have to have an account?
No, you could just go to no, you don't. You just go to ideas.gohighlevel.com.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Stephanie, question on Google Calendar. Is there a fix yet to Google automatically adding events and inviting an email address? If not, does anyone know how to just turn off that entire feature from inside of Google Calendar settings? Are we talking about the smart integration?
No, this hasn't come up in a while. I know what she's talking about. This is just the simple idea that, you know, when you add someone to your Google Calendar, they automatically get an invite. But if you do it manually, Google will ask you if that's what you want to do, and you can just sort of decline it. I'm just trying to remember if we worked this in as a setting at any point. Sorry, I'm just looking at the.
Meaning if you manually put someone on a Go High Level calendar that's linked to a Google Calendar, it auto sends that person.
So at the integration level, when we add something, there's a choice that we make, and I assume we're currently making the choice to send the invite. I think the answer here is we have this just gargantuan update to calendars coming out in July. And this is the kind of thing that as soon as that's out, I think I would see, if they haven't already tackled this as part of that update, I think it's a very simple thing to change. And so I would anticipate being able to get that fixed for you sometime in July. I do believe there's a way to turn it off though, but I can't remember what that is. So you might want to Google for it. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I tried and all I can find is like Google doesn't provide that option, and that's why Google Calendar sucks. Okay, good. But so I just didn't know if there was a secret that you guys.
There will be a secret.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next up, Carrie, any availability to lock out information from a team member, i.e. multiple team members, each one only sees their own pipeline conversations and opportunities. Admin still sees all the info. So yeah, Carrie, those are the user settings. If you go to, and I can share my screen real quick. If you hop into the account, so let's hop into an account that has some users here, and you go settings. And this is cool. I don't know if we announced this little change either, Sean, but now when you edit a team member, it's compartmentalized.
Well, that's true. It is cool. Now that we have call and voicemail settings, it just got too big.
Yeah, so if you go into user permissions, you can then toggle off all sorts of areas of the app for this specific user, but you can also turn on only assigned data, and you'll get this little modal that tells you, with this on, this user will only be able to see contacts, opportunities, and conversations that have been assigned to them. So it's a great toggle for sales teams if you don't want them to be able to poach each other's leads and things like that. That's what it's for. So I think you're looking for this only assigned data toggle. And let me get back.
Hey man, that's perfect. I missed that toggle somehow. Appreciate it.
Great. Yeah, no worries.
Hey, with that, is there an ability to have like types of users within a location? Meaning that, for instance, if an admin right now, we give them admin, they can go in. If we limit an admin to say we don't want them to see the websites or the funnels or the membership platform or certain things, But if they have admin, they can actually see it all and go and edit that themselves. Is there a way to limit what they literally see?
We actually,
settings
I know what you're talking about. This granularity concept is coming. It's definitely like something we sort of need to fix, because you're right. There's that sort of open hole there. I think you can shut it off.
I actually did a video on this.
What?
I actually recorded a video on this, similar to this. I posted in the group a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was, if you have an admin, even though you turn things off for them, when they add employees, they can actually add those other features in.
Can you?
Like, oh, that's not good.
That. Can you send me that Loom video? I'm just gonna bring that up with Varun next time I talk to him and see.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Kind of where we're at on that. I just don't. I know it's right out there someplace. I'm just not sure exactly where.
Yeah.
This part would be, I think, really key too for those selling SaaS or like different tiers of service, where you get this one, you get that, and then you go up and you get all these, and then you go to full and you get everything.
I also want to tackle like group permissions, like permission sets. So then you could apply, like when you add a user, you could choose a permission set, and then they would get a grouping of them that's already pre-canned. Stuff like that, I think, would be uber useful. So yeah, that's definitely on our short list.
Yeah, I guess, and part of that, Sean, would be the ability, like they have to be an admin to be able to delete contacts, which I understand, but we also don't want them to be able to see everything else. So some level of you can delete contacts, but we don't want you going into campaigns and triggers and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I think we understand that problem set pretty well now. It's just about figuring out where to put it on the schedule and what order to get it done.
That'd be great. And then one layer to that, and maybe it's all part of the same thing, but inside the settings, for instance, if there's a way to like toggle on and off what types of integrations, for instance, that they're able to see or not see, or different items within the settings tab.
Yes, exactly. That is actually the idea. So we've already done some edits here, like I'm trying to remember if this is live or not. But for example, you know how like under integrations, if you connect your Facebook account, then all the ad accounts that you own are then visible to like your customer.
Yeah.
We have it, I think, so that it hides that list unless you're the person who connected it. So we have stuff like that in the short term that we're rolling out, but long term we absolutely will let you pick and choose within settings. So within sections like that. And I agree, settings is the most sort of obvious one, because like you said, there's some settings you want them to be able to see and some not.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool. So it sounds like it's already in the works, which is great, because people request that all the time.
Yeah. So this is where this is where when I say we're sort of on the enhancements train, this is all the stuff we're trying to tackle right now, and it will take time to get to each and every one of these items, but it's definitely still it's our core focus. It's why everything I'm talking about in my new release videos, that none of it is like a new feature per se. Even like voicemail, in my opinion, is just an enhancement on the existing phone system.
Is there some kind of a time frame? And I know there's so many things on the ideas board and on your guys' list, but is there a time frame for the settings?
There probably is. I should probably start making my co-founder come to these meetings, because Varun knows a lot more about the specific timelines on individual dev issues than I do, unless they're sort of in the off-thing, like I can tell you what's going to happen this week, more or less, the big items. But I can get back to you on a time frame for that, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Next up, Mary, need some help understanding what constitutes a new contact versus updating versus duplicates when adding a contact via import, manually add forms. Feels like
sorry, I'm just finding, like, when I'm adding or telling people how to add contacts, that it depends on how you're adding the contact, on what data is required to determine if there's a duplicate.
Phone or email?
Phone or email.
Yes.
Okay, because like in import, you have to have a first name or a last name.
Oh, sorry. You're asking what are the I'm sorry. I apologize. So at
minimum, it's a combination. It's like, what are the minimums in each of those, and then what constitutes?
Okay, so minimum is actually a name or a company name.
Okay. Plus phone or
No. if you want to add somebody named Bob, with nothing else, I wouldn't recommend it because it doesn't seem very useful, but you can.
Okay.
But as far as like duplicate checking, we duplicate check based upon email and phone.
Okay.
Unless, which is actually awesome because we didn't know that we already built the fix for this. Brand new Facebook Messenger people, there's a toggle where you can have it match them just by their name, which
Yeah,
is
I saw
awesome.
that.
There were a lot of people.
We do have a raging internal debate about turning on match on name that we sort of back and forth a lot. I'm sort of in favor of just turning it on and sort of as a global option. My co-founder points out to me that will probably drive support tickets through the roof. And so we haven't come to a conclusion on that one yet. No other CRM does it, probably for really good reason, and the fact that it's an incredibly imprecise way to do it. But I also hear it enough that I feel like most people will be willing to take the chance. So I sort of think it's something that at some point this year we'll probably enable.
So
The other cool thing is,
go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's crossed Sean's path, but I know the product team is trying to devise a really cool way in SmartList to just say, show me all possible duplicate contacts, and it would just surface them, and then you could...
Merging contacts is definitely high on the list for sure.
Dang.
Which would be awesome. So
yeah, so that might be a better solution. Sorry.
Is an inbound that has no name considered a contact, or?
Almost everything is considered a contact. Are you talking about an inbound phone call?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We make a contact out of them.
Okay.
Which I think is awesome because a lot of CRMs can't do that, right? But for us, you can just be running, a flyer with a phone number, and if somebody calls it, their contact record.
Or after hours they call and nobody's answering, and you still got a lead.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Sorry. Real quick, Sean, when you said importing its email, you said email and phone. Is that
email
or which one's priority, or how does that?
I think there is a priority.
And I just to clarify, it doesn't allow you to import with only a name. So there are some like differences.
I apologize. Maybe it's like name and either email or phone. I think on the
I think that's what I've.
I think on the import we did that because we're like, who in the world would ever want to do just a name?
There are people. Okay, sorry.
I know. But trust me, I've learned a lot since we made some of those decisions. So don't get me wrong. But it's just a matter of So in general, the goal is So in general, the goal is trying to not get people into the system who are duplicates. And the general idea that there is email and phone are a good thing to match on. And so that's what we try to match on. So I'm trying to remember though, like, let's say you import somebody and you already have them in and the email's there, but you've added the phone number. It should still match on the email and then add the phone.
John, one of the use cases, which I didn't, before doing this, I didn't see the reason for not having a name and so on, but we have a location that wanted, we set up Zap. So if someone called their studio number and either left a voicemail or just, called and didn't get through, we have Zaps that bring that into HighLevel, and then we automatically text them saying, hey, it looks like you tried to reach us. Sorry, our studio is closed. Here's some, the links to either scheduling a class or doing that, whatever. And then when they actually get that, then they can actually act on those things and then they become a full contact. But we do have
that's you're saying, like, that's why you import just a phone number, for example.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. I think we'll get a lot looser about this. It's just like one of those things where it's like, like, I don't have a spare person to just jump in and do that, even though that's probably a great idea.
Guys, can I ask a question if I can butt in for 1 second?
Sure.
Francis here. Yeah, I was asking in the group about triggers and task reminders. And I find that sort of conceptually not clear as to how I can set up triggers for specific tasks to go to specific team members.
Oh, I saw that post and I was thinking.
Yeah, wondering if you could just, I don't understand it easily, but if you could just sort of show me on screen, I'd be really grateful for your help.
First I'm going to try to see if that's possible. unless Chase butts in first and tells me he knows what he's doing.
It may not be possible. And my second question was, if it's not possible, is that in the list?
Oh, I'm certain it is. Our tasks are going to get fully reworked at some point. Our tasks were sort of like one of the last things we kind of worked on. So you want to add a task for a team member, correct?
Yeah, like at the moment, the tasks sort of, they email me on a general, broad level, like you have a task due. But what if I have like a specific task for a contact that I want to assign to my team member VA or something?
Like, and the assign to field doesn't work because...
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on a second. Wait. Two-step, wait. Assign.
Well, what's your trigger? This is just a random demo.
Oh wait, isn't the trigger like when? Isn't there a task trigger?
That's like a task due trigger, but yes.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, like task reminders. So for example, say I want to remind John Smith.
Yes.
About a certain contact.
So you have assigned a task to John to do something.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want him to get trigger reminders. Like I just want him to get
a notification that it's time to do it.
It's time to do it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So what type of notification? Push notification, SMS message, email?
Email, for example.
Cool. Send email from bob@bob.com or whatever your email is, right?
Yeah.
To user.email.
Right. Now, the thing is that, do I have to do that for every task I assign him, or is that just going?
So this right here is just a generic idea. So this would be like, hey, if there's ever a task that comes up in the system, I want to remind via email the person who's assigned to that task to follow up on that.
Okay, and what if, okay, and so do I need to do this for every team member I have? So to have a different trigger for each?
Email should fill it in automatically. Because are you assigning, let me think about this real quick though. Are you assigning the lead to the team member?
Possibly, but the task could just be like, say for example, follow up with Bob in a month.
Okay.
Give him a call. Okay. Right? And I'm just wondering, like, is he going to get only that one reminder, or is he going to get all?
So this one would be for every single reminder you ever assign.
Ah, right. So he's going to get basically all task reminders for everything that's assigned, but it's not specific to one.
Correct.
To one item.
Correct.
Right. So I guess that I was asking: is it possible to just have reminders that are like
only enable reminders for a specific task, right? Yeah, no, we'll need to enhance our tasks.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. Right.
I see what you're saying though, because you're sort of saying, well, there have to be some types of tasks that I really want to remind on, and some I don't, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I guess if you were ever familiar with software like Wunderlist or any type of task building where you basically can just set, a due date for that specific item, and then it goes out to, you can sort of assign who that notification goes to. So I was wondering if we had that.
No, we need to, so right now, one of our big pushes is we're just hiring a lot more engineers. And so some of these new engineers will start taking on this type of function. Okay. So I think we'll create a CRM team that sort of handles this sort of thing.
What would you recommend as like a really useful or best practice way to use task reminders as they are built at the moment?
Well, for me, my daily task list, I get notifications for all my tasks as they come up and they're due, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know though that I would hold us out as the greatest task management app on the planet at the moment. I would say, we've got the tasks we've got, and you may or may not like how they're built, and I totally respect the fact that I just think we're weak in that area. So we might not be the right place to hold on to tasks for the moment. for you?
Well, I mean, it's actually, compared to what we got, it's not such a big deal because it's a minor thing. I'm just trying to see how best to use it. So
I mean,
the other thing is that they show on your dashboard, right? So if you have an internal protocol of like, hey, start your day by opening up your dashboard and check the tasks that are sitting there.
Okay.
I think beyond that, to Sean's point, we know that we have some ground to cover in the task department, but you could also build webhooks out and then into more robust task management solutions, which I think is what most people are doing right now. Like,
That's probably what
okay.
That's probably what I would recommend, sadly. But well, like I said, we'll get there.
All right. No, that's cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Brianna, question on adding in email for a new domain. Can you point me to a tutorial?
So I've done this before. It's silly that I don't know how to do it again. I just need to replicate what I've done for my own agency for my clients. Like, we have a domain or subdomain that's added in for every single client. And I need to be able to send and receive as, client@subdomain.com, and I'm using Mailgun. So is there an easy fix to be able to kind of reduplicate these efforts for every client, or do I have to go through the full process that I did initially in Mailgun, like for our own agency?
Okay, so two answers. The subdomain that you have set up right now, you can set as the default and use it for everybody, and they can send and receive from whatever they type in, right? So in the campaign configurations, you could say, I want this to go out as bob@bobspractice.com, and that's how it will go out. The downside of that, the upside is it's super easy, right? One setting works for everybody. The downside is you open up the potential where one of your sub accounts could be sending spam, and it would affect the deliverability rates for everybody. So best practice is to create a subdomain for each client in your Mailgun account and redo that whole DNS. There are 5 records that need to be set every time in that client's DNS.
Well, yeah. All right. I mean, I have a different opinion on that question, which is, in practice, looking at us from the lens of every new high-level customer who walks through the door who doesn't set up their own Mailgun account automatically actually uses ours under the hood. If I looked, so that's just imagine what I'm saying there. I'm saying like thousands of people randomly using our Mailgun account to send out email that I have no clue what they're sending. So imagine many of them are sending things that you would want to have sent on your email account. I'm actually amazed at the deliverability rates of that. So taking it into context of your clients specifically, if you're sort of more in control or more trusting of what it is that they might be sending, I think you have a lower honest risk to you in terms of impact. And worst case scenario, you could simply utilize a sort of a random domain, for lack of better words, just a sort of specific domain for email. So that's worst case scenario. If one of them does something really boneheaded and gets that burned, your main domain's not totally housed.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, what we have set up is we created a new domain because we're in one niche, right? So all of the emails that we're sending, and our clients don't have access to GHL. We're running everything through appointment setting and putting it on their calendar. So it's not like anything that's sent is sent, like we've approved it and set it up to send in campaigns.
Right.
So at that point, basically you're saying I can just keep the base domain that we have there for each client, use it for, each client, and then just create like in my Bluehost account, create different emails under that domain to send as for that specific client.
I mean, you could even do one better and set the from address, because remember it's the via address. Set the from address to be whatever their actual email is. You don't need to build them out in Bluehost. You can just sort of invent them.
Really?
Yeah.
What about when people want to respond?
When they respond, what'll happen is it'll go through the via address so that the system can catch the reply. And if you have it set as the forwarding address inside the account, it'll forward a copy back out to them.
It'll forward a copy back out to the client?
Yeah, to the client, correct. To whatever from address you specify.
All right. Okay,
and
excellent.
Your clients will honestly never know the difference.
Okay, cool. And then one last question. Difference between Smart and two-way on calendars.
Oh, that's you threw me for a second. That's not the normal.
Sorry,
question.
totally different.
No. So smart is also known as the Joe Rare option. So this was put in because Joe Rare pointed out that he had people. There's two types of people on your calendar. There's potentially, let's say, like easy example would be like, let's say your significant other. Like maybe you put you're going to go to dinner and you, for whatever reason, well, I mean, not for whatever reason, you put your significant other on the invitee list. You probably don't want that person to then end up being added to a campaign. But let's say you also have other people you put on your calendar who you do want to have added into a campaign. So what Smart does is when it receives the calendar, it looks at the invitee email address, and if and only if they're already a contact within the CRM, does action take place.
Okay, cool. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And to clarify, people being added directly to your Google Calendar. So that's the protection barrier there.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So you guys are talking about email and, again, being new with the product. Can I just ask what you guys recommend, or how do you manage cold email? Are you getting like a throwaway domain and putting it into Go HighLevel and hooking it up to SendGrid or something? Or just maybe if you guys can just give me a pointer there.
Yeah, so if you go, and I'll just grab it for you. If you go to help.gohighlevel.com and search cold outreach, I'm going to throw it into the chat right now.
Okay.
There's a little a guide that we've set up, but essentially you're on the right track. You're probably going to want to get a domain that's close to your real domain, but not the real thing. Maybe the .org version or whatever.
Yep.
Warm it up, and then do cold outreach in a separate sub account. And then when people become prospects, zap them or manually move them into your regular account. That being said, I think everybody will benefit from this. We recently did a spotlight session interview with Robert Adler, who's an email deliverability ninja, I would say. And he had a lot of really good insights. I'm going to grab the link to that. When it comes to all of this, and going back to what Sean said, the easiest way is to set up one subdomain, use it for everybody, and just monitor like once a month your deliverability rates. If they're great, then great. If you see them start dropping for some reason, then you're going to want to start to segment.
Yeah, I mean, my sort of thing is with cold email is that there's nothing. The most important thing to remind yourself is there's nothing magic about any way you send email. At the end of the day, when you send an email into Gmail or multiple emails into Gmail, they're going to look at those emails. They're going to watch the behavior that transpires on those emails, and then in accordance with the behavior that they see, they will seek to either allow you to continue to email their customers, or they will seek to block you from doing so. So it's, in my opinion, less about the method you choose. I mean, certainly giving yourself the ability to not burn your main domain is great, but just as a general rule, try not to send email to people they don't want to get. Or upon receipt, hit the spam button on. I think to me, that is the most important thing.
Yeah. It's a delicate balance. It's a delicate balance.
It is. And I will also say that, I think there are lots of, if you're trying to come up with different prospecting methods, there are, I think at both the beginning level and the advanced level exist that, in my opinion, are far better than cold email. And I think cold email is used consistently because it seems easy to teach and easy to execute. But I would say that there are far better methods that have much higher return rates than cold email.
Such as?
Well, so on the the most famous one to me is on the beginner side. Although I haven't seen someone scale this, although I think it can be scaled very easily. Was I met with an agency owner who was brand new. He'd been a plumber for 20 years, and he told me very confidently at the outset of the call that he would never have a client acquisition issue, which I laughed at internally and probably externally at the time, because I just didn't get it. But he turned out to be super right, and what he did was pretty ingenious in my opinion. So his target niche in this example was plumbers. He'd been a plumber. So what he did is he went out, he called, I think it was 10 plumbers off Angie's List and Home Advisor in his area, and he found out what they charged for a water heater flush at the time. I think it was $125. He went out and he ran Facebook ads as a fake plumbing company, generated leads, and then got those leads booked with 10 of these plumbers out on the next week, and basically gave these people free customers. And then when he called on the next week, after he called the customers to verify that the plumbing company showed up and did the job, and then he called the next week to then offer a second customer to these plumbing companies, and they immediately all asked, who are you and what do you do? And boom, he just closed them all. And he crushed it. And he's used that strategy now, and I think he's at 40 or 50 clients through that same strategy.
Okay, interesting. And last question, not necessarily email related, is Integromat versus Zapier. I've been playing around with Integromat a bit. It's much cheaper, kind of a cool app. You guys, is there anything you guys are looking at internally, like to make it a little more native connection, perhaps?
You mean, are we looking to integrate with Integromat?
Yeah, I guess that's the question. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So my answer is we do what we're told. We don't sit around here thinking about what we would prefer. So going to the ideas list, Integromat has 146 votes, which puts it squarely on the second page of the ideas list. So the answer is we will probably integrate with Integromat in the next 3 months based upon these votes.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we're coming up in the hour, so let's try to lightning round these questions here. Dennis, super excited for the calendar updates. I'm hoping it's going to have calendar elements added to the zaps so we can zap out the date that an appointment is scheduled. Any idea if this will be included?
Isn't it on the zap already?
I think what we're talking about is webhook, actually.
Sorry,
webhook out.
Isn't it already in the webhook already?
I didn't think it didn't used to be.
Wait, if you have an appointment book trigger, the appointment date and time is not on the webhook?
I was doing it based on when they hit a specific stage in the opportunity. Then I was sending out.
Okay. So I did throw in. I don't know if this has made it live yet. I did throw it in so that we would grab the last booked appointment. I mean, the reason why it's not logical to include that by default is you could have 10 appointments. Which one do you show? But for most people, there'll only be one, or the one that matters will be the most recent. So that enhancement is somewhere in the list. I could actually already be live for all I know. You might want to check it out, but I know for sure it's already part of the appointment trigger.
Okay, so I didn't realize. I guess I thought all the webhook, all that stuff was the same no matter what you used, and I never saw it. So I could create a whole new app that just pulls that.
Yeah.
Awesome. I guess that's gonna change in a week though.
Probably. Bill, need ideas on how to cascade leads to an available rep.
So this is in regards to, I have clients that have 7-day-a-week businesses, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., multiple reps. Someone comes in, the lead kind of gets assigned to them on day one on a Friday. Well, they're off until Monday. The time value of the lead is so important. What would be your suggestion?
In my opinion, is this is where the calendar upgrade is so important, because what we're really talking about is when a lead comes in, instead of round robining based upon just a random coin flip, we need to be round robining off a calendar. So we
like
really
a scheduling calendar of when they're available?
Yeah. So what we'll have this will be in July. So our goal is to go beta the first week of July. We will go beta, at least internal to the HighLevel. And then from there, as soon as everything's good, we'll release it to everybody. But the idea is, one of the big features will be like, you and I are on a sales team. We get one calendar where we're both represented. And at every point where we have an overlap, the round robin happens at that overlap based on the time of day and the date of the week or the date of the month. So
that if a lead came in, I tried it, there was no answer hypothetically.
Right.
And then it's assigned, it's kind of tagged to me then, but then the next day sallies in and.
So the idea there would be we'd present you with so what you're sort of talking about might be an interesting enhancement on this. So what I'm talking about is I send you a calendar link, and when you get it, you're choosing a time, and that time is based upon the availability of the sales team in that moment.
Yes.
Right. But I think what you're kind of pointing out, which is interesting, and I'd love to see how hard this would be, but I think you're almost thinking it'd be cool, like if during the campaign round robining action, we took into account the date and time that the lead is entering the campaign and only round robin to the people who had availability within that moment, right?
Yeah, I can share, Sean, I can maybe share with you how we've kind of done it with another one, and maybe that'll help.
Great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is where things starting to get fun, because we can start to think through some of these deeper actions, because like if there's a salesperson, if I'm doing a round robin but I hit upon somebody who doesn't work on that particular day or isn't available, round robining to them seems like a lost cause. It'd be better to first choose someone who has availability.
We did it by logins. Was a big way of login and who would be able to run that lead, and then it round robins from that.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I realize I've got a hard stop at 12. Do we have anything else real quick that's urgent that I need to answer?
Calendar. Yeah, we're working on a Zoom integration, right? That's going to come after
after this massive calendar update that comes out. Zoom will be one of the first things that we do. We'll pick up the ideas list for the calendar back, because that was the next item down on the calendar ideas list.
Okay. Is there a way to block callers or spammers?
Not currently, although I do know there's an idea out there on the ideas list for that, I believe.
Okay. Where do you find Google Hangouts? How can you create a pop-up for subscribing on a website not built in Go HighLevel? That's, yeah, you just embed a calendar in a modal, or a widget in a modal on whatever it is, like WordPress or whatever. Can we get a trigger that will zap out to another task? That already happens. I launched a database reactivation campaign, and my Twilio costs through the roof, $50 a day. We have an interview, a spotlight session tomorrow with Chris, who built that thing that does Twilio protections, where you could just set a threshold and it'll notify you if somebody hits it. So maybe check that out tomorrow. That might help. Membership area allows something like 4G of data to store video courses. Will that data be expanded so we can host images and PDFs in each location?
So you can attach files today and to the memberships, I believe, and then we'll also be adding file attachments to the contacts within the CRM here soon.
Bears Group is building an interface. Okay, we have 12 week. I don't play guitar, but I do know Andy Fuchs. Chase, when we talked about Flash funnels last week, you weren't sure if it was safe to permanently move to that address. Will flash.funnel stay? Is that it forever? Yes. Okay.
Correct. There will not be we're not going to make that go away, because that'd be too much work for people.
Cool. And then the last one here, Chris, custom fields for opportunities. So what does that mean?
Oh, custom fields for opportunities. Yes, that's part of the CRM enhancements. We'll absolutely get that done.
Sweet.
All
awesome.
right.
That's the end of the list. If you guys didn't get your question answered or not answered correctly, just shoot an email to support@gohighlevel.com. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks again for joining. And as always, we would love it if you would go to gohighlevel.com/testimonial and let us know how much you love the app.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.